At this point in time, I think that it's impossible to think that Joe Biden is going to make it to the 2024 election. Hopefully he lives. Like, I'm not wishing anything like that on him. I just don't know if he's going to be the Democratic nominee because, well, all of the polls, all public perception, every single time he takes the stage, almost does a header or can't even finish a coherent paragraph. Well, maybe the spring, definitely not the DNC caucus, or maybe they'll give him the nominations so they could do some underhanded stuff to just put in Gavin Newsom, probably because he's out there electioneering everywhere else, running a shadow campaign without actually announcing a campaign, hoping that the continuation of all of the different lawsuits against Trump just somehow take him down. But then when you look at this, Trump leads Democratic president in 5 of the 6 key swing states. Couple that with what, about a month ago, we seen a poll, a Harris poll, ABC poll. It was one of those leans left. And by leans, I mean falls left polling agencies that had Trump up by 1, 2, 3, 10 points. 10 goddamn points. Now that he's leading in 5 of the 6 key swing states, with Wisconsin being the 6th, going like, what the fuck are you guys doing over there? It's like, haven't you suffered enough? Haven't you just had an election overturned after they figured out that some shady stuff was happening? And that, we had that story break, I think that was a year ago with the nursing homes. You're still going to end up voting for that other... Oh, okay, cool. That's very interesting that you'd end up polling that way. But I want to take a look at these polls real quick, because it's been a second where we've talked, like exclusively politics, and I do love doing this stuff. It is my bread and butter, after all. Even more bad news for Biden. Trump now leads Democratic president in 5 of the 6 key swing states. Please, God, please, roll a winner. Roll a winner when it comes to one of those goddamn lawsuits so that he isn't on the ballot. That's what they're thinking. Obviously, you guys know my politics. Shout out to Razorfist for coining this. It is just the funniest thing ever. My politics come with German subtitles. No, I'm joking, sort of. I'm as conservative as it gets. And when it comes to populist conservatives that are out there, there's only one that tickles my fancy. And we share something in common. Actually, a couple things. A given name and a love of certain types of cats. Anyways, Donald Trump is leading in the polls in 5 of the 6 key swing states, as well as beating Joe Biden on key issues like the economy. Yeah, how could Biden win on the economy? Everything is tangibly. Everything that can be measured has been measured and is found out to be not in Biden's favor. Immigration? Obviously, like what was Trump's platform? Even though he had a bunch of different issues that he did take care of, and at the behest of Ann Coulter, shut up for a second. Trump was actually good on immigration and national security. Yeah, no, exactly. I would also wonder, if you're going to take a look at foreign policy, how many wars, how many major headline-grabbing wars have happened under the Biden regime that we aren't necessarily involved with Biden, as opposed to Trump. I'm just wondering. All you can do is just take a look at the most recent one with, Israel and Palestine. What's going on there? What was happening under the Trump administration? All right, they were signing historic peace deals that was keeping the peace in the Middle East. Now what's happening over there? What's that you can hear off in the distance? Is that another hospital getting bombed? Very interesting. I'm so glad that the adults are finally back in the room. President Donald Trump is ahead with voters in Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, and Michigan. Fucking Michigan, depending on the polls that you look at, Michigan, by margins of at least 3 to 10 percentage points. Yo! I'd imagine probably Georgia, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that stuff. Like, we aren't even, I think we're, depending on the day that it lands on, I think we're probably just about a year out. A year out from, wow, that's wild to think about. Just seems like yesterday things were getting stolen right under our nose. Anyways, Wisconsin is currently the only swing state where Biden has a 2-point lead. What are we talking about? According to a new poll by New York Times. I think we're finding ourselves in another type of situation where you have one of these left-leaning polls, Democratic oversampling polls, where we can just go on and add like a requisite, like fucking Salt Bay. We can just go ahead and add on, like 5 points for the Republican, and then we might end up getting something accurate-ish But yo, I want to see what these are specifically. So Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania were 4 of the states that the Democrat beat the Republican during the 2020 White House face-off. Sure thing. The poll revealed that 2/3 of the electorate sees the country moving in the wrong direction under Biden. What? No! Their eyes work? Oh, good. You sampled people of sound mind and body. Good stuff. That's a start. Especially, quite a departure from what you're normally covering with politics with... well, Joe, and the multiracial and multi-generational coalition with Kamala Harris is not having the same positive effect that it did in 2020. No, Kamala Harris was and always will be a liability to Joe Biden, but kind of, I forget who brought this up, and it might have been Robert Barnes who brought this up. I don't want to misattribute this, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing that I would, but he's kind of, I don't know if this was Joe Biden figuring it out or one of his puppet masters, more than likely the latter, but have somebody as insufferable, just like, Richard Nixon had Spiro Agnew. Nobody liked that motherfucker, okay? Just put him in there as an insurance policy. Oh, you can't get rid of me because Spiro's even fucking worse. That's what Joe Biden does. But he doesn't know who the fuck his vice president is. Couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I don't know, man. I just get her on her knees. That's why I hired her to begin with. But here we go. Okay, so the swing states, the graph itself. We'll go ahead and make a bigger real quick here. Yeah, good. Yeah, buddy, it's right there centered. Okay, so in Nevada, up 10 points. Yo, 10 points. That is fucking significant. Georgia up by 6 points. Okay, Arizona by 5. Wow. It's probably more accurate as to where it was, in the past few elections, but I don't know. Is Ruben Gallego going to be running any more of those elections? I think he's running for, he's running for Senate in that 3-way race. I don't know if Kari Lake is officially announced for that, but it's going to be a situation where it's going to be not too dissimilar to the presidential election, where you have a Democrat and Ruben Gallego. You have Kari Lake running as a Republican, even though they haven't, I don't think that they've ironed everything out yet. And then the incumbent independent. That's kind of where we differentiate with the presidential election, but you're going to have independent who has voted with Biden more than everybody else, more than Bernie fucking Sanders in Kirsten Sinema. I've shouted him out before, but if you want a more specific purview and more of an insight into Arizona politics, check out Razor Fist. He is on top of all of that stuff, and I've done several videos on Kirsten Sinema specifically because I've always seen her as a piece of trad cuck catnip in order to try to appeal like, I'm a moderate, guys, even though you started your political career literally with the Communist Party, transitioning over to the Green Party, and now, because you couldn't get elected on that ticket, you became a Democrat, and then, oh guys, look, I'm an independent now, even though you continue to caucus with the Democrats. I'll digress for a second. 5 points up in Michigan. 4 points up in Pennsylvania, and then, yes, 2 points down in Wisconsin. I'll believe that when I see it, but probably the most, I'll be frank with everybody here, probably the most unbelievable, or at least the most startling statistic, it's probably Michigan, okay? Like, Nevada totally makes sense because Nevada just wants to be open. Nevada is seeing an influx of a lot of Californians, and it's like, don't fucking do this over here, man. Like, we're a booming, busting economy. We don't have state income tax. We don't want state income tax. We are open for business. We don't need any more regulation, okay? We used to have one racket running the place. We got them out of there. We don't need another. But like I said, this is huge. This is big, but we are still about a year out, okay? So what other metrics can we look at to see why I'm kind of thinking that old Joe is going to get, pushed off to the retirement home? Biden is in worse shape than any president since Jimmy Carter. What the fuck? His corollary, the guy that everybody draws comparison to him to, he's worse than everybody else with a year until election. But is there going to be a year left in his presidency? I don't know. Still 1 year out until the 2024 election. And Biden is at the lowest ebb of any. Wow, that's probably a mistake because this is, Daily Mail after all, and they need to hire a copy editor. President seeking a second term since Jimmy Carter poll show. As of Sunday, Biden has a 365 days salvage situation, but the precedent suggests he faces an uphill climb. But no, he's the most popular president ever. He got 81 million votes, right? 1 year out from election day on November 5th. Oh, okay, that's election day. Okay, cool. 2024, Biden's Gallup approval rating stands at 30. yo, like Trump at this point in time, yo man, everything was flying. I remember, oh my God, cast your minds back to 2019. God, man, the before times. Unbelievable. That is lower at the same stage than his 6 immediate predecessors. Trump at 43%, Obama at 43%. Yo, like I knew that Obama, for as much as the media wants to jerk themselves off in regards to the coverage of him, but I knew he was unpopular. I just didn't realize how unpopular he was. And again, all of these polls do in fact and always have tended to trend more ever since the 24 news hour cycle. I've been dying these past 2 days covering stuff. But anyways, pardon the disjointed verbiage. I'm just saying Barack is about as popular post-presidency as he was with a year left. A year left in his first term, huh? Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, HW, he was still riding the wave of 2020, the 2000, 9/11. Holy man, I'm out of it. Bill Clinton, 52%. Okay, yeah. HW with 59%. Interesting. And Reagan, yes, at 53%. And then Jimmy Carter at 32%. Yo! So Carter was actually 5 points worse. So, yo, if you're in your 30s, you end up losing your re-election bid. Holy. Only Carter, who got 32%, is more unpopular than Biden with a year to go. And Carter went on to lose in the landslide. Yes, he did. Pollsters believe, being at 50% approval in the final days before American votes is a benchmark for a successful re-election. And not always. I would suggest Biden has a lot of work to do. And there is, like, outside of legitimately paying everybody off, like, there is nothing that this guy can do. His first, I was going to say year, but honestly, his first 3 years, I cannot. And I'm trying to be fair about this. I don't know one thing that he succeeded at. Like, he's failed at every single endeavor he's put his administration forward to tackle. Like, there's no victories to be had here. In fact, there's probably some landmark historical American atrocities that have gone on under his watch. Trying to force everybody to have a jab in their arm in order to participate in regular life, by trying to use OSHA in order to do that. It's like, yeah, you can't have a job if you don't get vaccinated. I'm sorry, what? Thank God they got struck down by that evil, fascistic Supreme Court. And for his own supporters having Roe v. Wade overturned on his watch, that's a W. Not for Biden, of course. That was a dark day for America. You're telling me while you had control of Congress with the House in the first term, and still having the Senate this time around, couldn't have codified anything? Absolutely useless. And then, of course, Afghanistan. That's something that I'm never going to forget. 13 people just ended up dying because you threw away Trump's withdrawal plan. Like, he's a blithering tard. Supply chain crisis, handling of the Ukraine-Russia situation, and now with the Israel situation. Those are just things that are right off the top of my head, but he hasn't handled any of them even well. Like, it's all just been bad. Throw money at it, fail at it catastrophically, or just ignore it. The southern border. That's what he's doing with the southern border. Like, there is nothing. There is no reason that you would vote for Joe Biden, even if you didn't like Trump, even if you just sat at home. What would be driving you to go and vote for Joe Biden? That's why I don't get it, especially with that RFK stuff, coming in through the side door. It's like, oh yeah, RFK is going to take votes away from Trump. See, look at this poll. No, he'd take votes away from the Democrat, because that's basically what his policies are, for as much as people just want to go ahead and lampshade some of his terrible takes on assault rifles, on reparations, on any sort of hot button culture war issue. He tends to be bad on those. Sure, he says some base things about the jab, but outside of that, a Kennedy's still gonna Kennedy at the end of the day. And with that name, carries some clout under the Democratic banner. So I just don't see it at all turning out well for Biden. That's why I swear to God, they're probably going to pivot. They're probably going to wait until the moment where they can go ahead, and I'm talking about the DNC here, not they, the people behind the scenes of the deep state. No. The DNC is just waiting so they can go ahead and select their slick talking puppet that they can just go ahead and interject at the 11th hour at a moment of, and I hope it doesn't happen, but it's very likely that it does, at a moment of catastrophe for the current administration. If the approval numbers in and of themselves weren't bad enough, what's ultimately going to end up happening? Are they just going to have to come out and honestly say, yeah, the president has dementia, he's not functioning in his proper sound mind, he's just going to have to retire, we're going to have to take this monumental step to ensure our democracy, and well, put forward his replacement. If things continue on this horrific trajectory, I see that to be very, very likely. As much as I'd like to see, like, I don't wish any ill will on anybody, okay? For as much as I dislike the policies of Joe Biden and a lot of his own personal decisions, I don't want to see anything bad happen to him. I'm just saying there's a lot of powerful people that are out there that aren't quite as compassionate as I am, which is kind of sad to think that those are the guys who are running the world, but it is what it is. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.